Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with another DC Talk video, and I'm here to talk all things Wonder Woman. Now, before Comic-Con starts, we got a whole bunch of cool, interesting stuff regarding the Wonder Woman film that's directed by Patty Jenkins and starring Gal Gadot, and I'm here to talk about it, so let's get into it. Now, first things first, the writers. We got some new writer credits attached to this film, which is very interesting because for the longest time regarding this film, we already knew that apparently Jason Fuchs was the main writer for this film. But now we got some new credits, which includes Geoff Johns, a new writer Alan Henberg, and of course a story by Zack Snyder. Now, when I take a backseat and I look at these new writer credits, the first thing that pops into my head, which is, that's fucking amazing. Geoff Johns is writing this film, or at least rewrote what Jason Fuchs might have done. That's freaking awesome. Alan Henberg being attached to this film, I really have no real kind of foot to say anything with this because Alan Henberg is a new writer when it comes to this, big blockbuster superhero game, and he's mostly known for his TV credits, so I can't really comment too much on him. However, it's very interesting that they just completely, went left field from what we already knew, which was Jason Fuchs writing and having this new writer. However, Geoff Johns, I guess he has a lot more power with this DC universe than we thought because apparently he rewrote, or at least wrote majority of what we're probably going to end up seeing in Wonder Woman, which is a huge plus at the end of the day. Now, of course, the Zack Snyder influence. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, it is something that we have to accept because regardless of what we personally think about BVS and, the upcoming Justice League film, the overall DCEU is a Zack Snyder vision. It's kind of sad depending on if you're a fan or not, but regardless, it is true. He is pretty much, giving us the vision of what the DCEU is, and that's just something that we're going to have to accept. So, him having some form of influence with the story of what Wonder Woman is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's just something that we'll have to accept. However, we also got a pretty quick little summary regarding the story Wonder Woman that we'll end up seeing, which of course is thus. Before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, princess of the Amazons, trained to be an unconquerable warrior, raised on a sheltered island paradise. When an American pilot crashes on their shores and tells of a massive conflict raging in the outside world, Diana leaves her home, convinced that she can stop the threat. Fighting alongside man in a war to end all wars, Diana will discover her full powers and her true destiny. That's pretty much the summary that we got for Wonder Woman. Now, overall, I like the story that we're kind of getting here, but my only concern with the film, because I am heavily, completely anticipated to see this film. I mean, I loved Gal Gadot and what she brought to the overall, movie that was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I think she was pretty much my favorite part in that film. However, my major concern with her solo film is because, or if there is any kind of real concern, is number one, so many writers in the kitchen. When you have so many people in the kitchen making something, it could flub up what the final product could end up being. So it is what it is on that front. However, the Geoff Johns kind of helps. But then again, it gets kind of tainted because you have the Zack Snyder influence on it. Now, Zack Snyder, once again, it's his vision for the DCU, so it's just a pill that we'll have to swallow. However, based off what we kind of get from the second half of the summary, it kind of feels like Wonder Woman the solo movie is going to be more or less her origin, but the second half is going to be this fusion of World War One meets 300, which I think is the Zack Snyder influence, which is it's going to turn from this really epic World War One saga to being this weird 300, her verse with Chris Pine and maybe other people versus this army of Ares that he's brought over or something, this very intense Greek mythological fucking characters. That's kind of what I'm getting overall with the gist of the summary, which at the end of the day on paper may sound cool, but I don't really want to see. I really want to just see a great solo story following Diana and her rise to Wonder Woman. And also when you get to the ending of the summary, it kind of feels like an optimistic ending. Now, granted, the final execution will be the final execution. We'll have to wait and see how it ends up in the fucking theaters. But when you read the final quote from the summary, it kind of feels like Wonder Woman, the movie, will leave off in a very optimistic end where she's going to learn who she truly is and accept that she is Wonder Woman and possibly save people in America or what have you, in the real world, or at least the man's world, if you will. But when we watch her in BVS, she's exiled from that world, I guess, on her own accord, and she's kind of having this like Selena Kyle archetype of characterization in that storyline, which would lead into Justice League. So I don't know how the story is going to fully unfold upon us in the theaters, but all I can really say is this. The addition of Geoff Johns and this new writer, Alan Himberg, brings me a lot of optimism. The Zack Snyder influence definitely hinders that, but overall I'm still excited. The summary sounds badass. It sounds like everything that I would want to see with an origin solo story with Wonder Woman, because she's an amazing character, and I feel like she's never really truly gotten her dues in film. But now we're finally going to get that, so I think that's just amazing. However, I still have certain concerns because of this whole Zack Snyder vision and story aspect that kind of just gives me a step back as to what's really going to happen with this DC universe. Because, let's face facts, Suicide Squad's the next DC film we're going to see, and if that fails or flops or is destroyed by critics by any way, it's going to bum me out. I'm going to be sad and disappointed, but it's not going to kill me inside. If Wonder Woman has to go through the same kind of shit that BVS went through, that's going to kill me inside, because Wonder Woman is a very important character and one of the best female superheroes of all time, and for her to not truly get her dues and be treated with the right respect that and love that she deserves on film for the first time ever, and her actual solo story that's outside of the shadow of Batman and Superman and any other DC Universe characters, this is a big deal. So hopefully it's amazing. I'm still highly anticipating this film. Geoff Johns a part of it, fucking amazing. The summary sounds pretty cool, but is this whole Zack Snyder vision or influence gonna fuck it all up? I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But with that being said and done, let me know what you personally think in the comments section below. What are your personal thoughts on Wonder Woman, the summary? What are your personal thoughts on the writers? What are your personal thoughts on the Zack Snyder vision? And what I had to say with the story overall in the comment section below. But before I end this video, let's get into some Comic-Con stuff. Yes, Comic-Con starts next week. We're gonna get all the DC stuff, and we got some very interesting stuff, what we can expect at San Diego Comic-Con regarding DC. Now, first things first, pretty obvious, Suicide Squad is going to have a major influence at Comic-Con this year. Obviously, it's going to come out next month, so a lot of crazy shit's going to go down regarding Suicide Squad. We're going to see the director, the cast talking about the film, possibly some new stuff like props and suits and costumes and just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. The cast talking about the film, possibly some new clips, but overall it's going to be a Suicide Squad orientated DC Comic-Con. But moving off of that, we also are going to get some Wonder Woman stuff. We're going to get Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Connie Nelson, and of course the director Patty Jenkins showing up at Comic-Con, hopefully talking about the film, talking about the future, the Wonder Woman mythos, and how she's going to fit into this DCU, and hopefully, and I'm praying on this, keeping my fingers crossed, that we're going to get to see the first ever trailer to Wonder Woman. Yes, we got some footage back when we saw the DC Justice League special, but this time it's time to show us a legit trailer, and I can't wait to see that. We're also going to get some Lego Batman stuff, which I'm definitely interested to see, because Lego Batman, the trailers have been killing me. They're fucking amazing. I can't wait to see Chris McKay and what he brings to the Lego universe, if you will. And hopefully we're going to get some Justice League stuff. We heard from Ben Affleck that he might show up at Comic-Con, and the cast also might show up as well, but it hasn't been officially confirmed by Warner Brothers or DC, so I'm guessing the influence of Justice League within San Diego Comic-Con will be pretty much just the mic drop, which, if anything, hopefully we get to see all Justice League members together at Comic-Con, which would be great, a very good Avengers moment, if you will. And on top of that, it would also be pretty cool to see the footage that the reporters and critics got to see at the set visit, which is Bruce Wayne finally meeting the Flash for the first time, which would also be pretty cool. But overall, let me know what you personally think about what we can expect from Comic-Con. I will obviously be talking about and recapping them once Comic-Con ends. And of course, any trailers come out, I will be reviewing them, so be on the lookout on my channel for that. But with that being said and done, comment below. Let me know what you personally think about all things DC and Wonder Woman that I had to talk about, and Comic-Con in the comment section below. And of course, shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonch12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been Jonch12.